NVIDIA is canceling the launch of the 4080 12GB edition since there's already a 4080 16GB edition. What I said in the last video about having two different 4080 series, they're now coming down to only one 4080 series. The 4090 series will still be available. I think that this is going to be better for NVIDIA in the aspect of confusing people. When you go purchase the card, you know that a 4080 series or a 4090 series, there's a difference between how the memory works and how the bandwidth works, as well as the amount of CUDA cores, etc. The 16 and the 12GB editions, the differences were very big, more than just the amount of RAM. They were also differences in between the memory bandwidth, the different size memory, the reduced CUDA cores, the reduced overall bandwidth. I'm going to show a little chart that basically explains a lot of this so that you can get a little bit more of an in-depth detail. But that series doesn't make any sense because basically you're changing so many things about the graphic card that you're now really making another series graphic card. You're really not just changing the RAM, where I think they were trying to pull that over on the consumer, saying that only the RAM was changed, but really it's actually the processors changed, the RAM's changed, even the RAM speed has changed. I just think that it should have been done way earlier. Somebody should have noticed this right off the bat and said, okay, you know what, we have totally two different sets of cards here that should really be marketed differently, not just, you know, 4080, 12 gig, because 12 gig is not the difference. It's 12 gig plus the difference of CUDA cores, plus the different memory, plus the different bandwidth. That's hard to say in a sentence compared to just saying 4080, 4070. The 4090 graphic cards are already sold out everywhere. No surprise, due to scalping and other issues that may be happening with graphic cards. This is really not unshocking. Others who have tested the 4090's performance do show an uplift of over 40% increase from the previous generations, which is an actual real test. People have been benchmarking them. The only way to get this big increase in change from the 40% increase that they're actually saying is that you also need a more current CPU, higher wattage power supply to even handle the graphic card, and even maybe a larger case to physically fit the 4090. I think that we're all missing the boat here on the aspect of how expensive this really is for some people that may not have already half of this equipment. You're on a regular budget, on a really I wouldn't say conservative budget, because it's not really conservative, but if you were on any type of budget, this doesn't really fit. Is it worth upgrading to the 4090? If you already have a 30 series card, definitely no. If you have like a really older generation card, like an NVIDIA 10 series or something like that, and you want to upgrade to, let's say, the newest of the new, and you want to stay on that platform for a very long time, then you would go to the 4090 and purchase that and purchase all the equipment that's going to be required for it. The only thing that's a big question mark is the AMD RDNA 3 cards are supposed to be announced on November 3rd. Now that's to be announced, which is about, as of recording this video, just about a little less than a month away. I would say that I would wait till see what AMD has to offer before you go back to NVIDIA and say, okay, this is what I'm going to go with. Because AMD right now, the drivers have gotten better from NVIDIA over time, is really what I'm kind of getting to. And the performance are now kind of teetering more to AMD on a lot of titles. So to spend all that money on NVIDIA compared to buying an AMD graphic card that will probably use the same regular PCI Express adapter that you already have in your power supply and not cost you a fortune on your electric bill, might be your better solution if you're only playing games. Now, if you're doing production work, we already do a lot of tests on AMD with actual production work. We should probably release those. But we do a lot of production testing, and by production I mean like rendering testing, AutoCAD rendering. The AMD versus NVIDIA comparison really comes down to what product is really developed for what card. Why haven't we purchased the 4090? The 4090 really doesn't fit into any of our customers' needs at the current time. The other reason why we're not really picking up the 4090 is because of the price to performance comparison on a production level. On a production level, you can get a workstation graphic card, which is an A series or an RTX A series, NVIDIA graphic card, which would be about the same price, and you can get a lot more performance out of that because it's more tuned for rendering and rendering specifically production material. I don't really see the 4090 series as something a production person would pick up for just doing, you know, regular animation. There are less expensive cards that do give better performance. And I say better performance, but better performance for that specific program, not for games and stuff like that. Now, if you're into all games, 4090, you might want to wait till AMD comes out with their RDNA. Save some money if you really don't need to have NVIDIA's crazy performance numbers. By the way, the numbers that they're coming out with the 4090 series also show benchmarks that are way above what you would normally even see on a game. I mean, yeah, it makes it a little bit more smoother, but I think a lot of people are also missing the point that you need expensive hardware to back that up. Still, even with the current graphic card and better power supply, you also need a faster refresh rate monitor. You're going to need a higher hertz monitor. You know, 60 hertz is just not going to do it. It's going to start lagging your game of performance in DLSS. And you know, when you turn on DLSS 3, you're gonna want those higher hertz. You're gonna want that 144 hertz, 150, 160 hertz monitor, so that you can actually see all of it in its nice glory. Yeah, I think we're gonna wait on this, and we'll see from what AMD says in November, and we'll try to see if we can try different cards at that time. Oh, we also didn't pick up an Intel graphic card because after we saw the benchmarks, they are not any better than what AMD is offering right now for the price point. And if we're going to go that route, you're better off just buying an AMD graphic card. There is some sort of AV1 encoding that Intel is supposedly doing better than any of the other graphic cards right now. But if that doesn't really affect you, then you know it's not worth the money. You can go with a cheaper card from Intel if you want the best cost per performance for that specific, you know, AV1 encoding. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, do all of the lovely YouTube things you guys do, and we'll see you in the next one.